Let's talk about two of the most intimidating areas on a golf course for beginners: bunkers and water hazards. These are places where good rounds go to die, even when experienced golfers sometimes lose their composure, and where poor etiquette can really shine a spotlight on the fact that you don't know what you're doing. Here's the good news. While you might struggle with the actual golf shots from these areas, the etiquette is pretty straightforward once you know the rules, and knowing the proper procedures will help you look like you belong, even when your ball definitely doesn't. Let's start with sand bunkers, because if you play golf long enough, you're definitely going to end up in one. Actually, if you're a beginner, you're probably going to end up in several of them, possibly multiple times per round. First, let's talk about how to get into a bunker safely. Always enter a bunker from the low side. That's the side closest to your ball and closest to the fairway or green. Don't climb down the steep face of a bunker if you can help it. You might slip, you might damage the bunker, and you'll definitely look like you don't know what you're doing. Now, here's something that trips up a lot of beginners. You cannot ground your club in a sand bunker. That means you can't let your club touch the sand before you actually swing at the ball. This is an official rule of golf, not just etiquette, but it's worth mentioning because violating it can result in penalty strokes. So when you're setting up for your shot, hover your club slightly above the sand. Don't use it to lean on. Don't use it to test the consistency of the sand. Just hover it and swing. It feels weird at first, but you'll get used to it. Here's the big etiquette rule for bunkers. You must absolutely rake the bunker when you're done. This isn't optional. This isn't if you feel like it. This is mandatory. You rake the bunker to smooth out the sand and remove your footprints and the divot from your shot. But there's a right way and a wrong way to rake a bunker. Start by raking the area where you hit your shot. Smooth out the divot and any disturbed sand. Then rake your footprints, working your way backward towards the edge of the bunker. The idea is to leave the bunker in the same condition you found it or better. When you're raking, use long, smooth strokes rather than short, choppy ones. You want to create an even, smooth surface and make sure you get all the areas you disturbed, not just where you hit the ball, but everywhere you walked. Here's where you put the rake down when you're done. And this is important because different courses have different preferences. Some courses want rakes left in the bunker, usually placed flat against the back edge. Other courses want rakes left outside the bunker. When in doubt, look around and see where other rakes are positioned or ask someone in the pro shop. Now, let's talk about bunker strategy that's really about etiquette. If your ball is in a really bad lie in the bunker, buried in the sand, up against the edge, in a footprint that someone didn't rake properly, don't spend forever trying to hit a miracle shot. Take your medicine, get the ball out of the bunker safely, and move on. I've seen players take 4 or 5 shots trying to get out of bunkers, getting more frustrated with each attempt, while their playing partners just stand around waiting and the group behind them backs up. Sometimes the smart play is just to blast the ball out sideways or even backward to get the ball back into playable position. Here's something else about bunker etiquette. If you're waiting for someone else to hit out of the bunker, don't stand right at the edge watching them. Sand can fly everywhere quite a bit when someone's hitting a bunker shot, and you don't want to get pelted with sand. Give them some space. Also, if you're the one hitting from the bunker, be aware of where your playing partners are positioned. Sand doesn't just go towards the target. It can spray in various directions depending on your swing and the consistency of the sand. Now let's talk about water hazards and penalty areas, which is what they're officially called now under the modern rules of golf. Water hazards are marked with either yellow stakes or red stakes, and the color matters because it affects your options for taking relief. But from an etiquette standpoint, the most important thing is how you handle the situation when your ball goes in the water. First, if there's any chance your ball might be in the water but you're not sure, hit a provisional ball before you leave the tee or your previous position. This can save enormous amounts of time if you get into the water and realize your ball is indeed lost. When you get to a water hazard, don't spend forever looking for your ball. I've seen people wade into ponds, lakes, and streams looking for balls that even if found would be unplayable anyway. If your ball is clearly in the water, just take your penalty and move on. Here's the etiquette part. When you're taking relief from a water hazard, don't hold up play trying to figure out the exact perfect spot to drop. The rules give you options, but you don't need to spend 10 minutes calculating angles and distances to save yourself 2 yards. If you're not sure about the proper procedure for taking relief, ask someone in your group or just make a reasonable decision and keep playing. In casual golf, exact adherence to every nuisance of the dropping rules is less important than keeping pace of play moving. Here's something about water hazard safety. Don't risk injury trying to retrieve golf balls or hit shots from dangerous positions. I've seen people slip and fall trying to hit balls from muddy banks or wade into water that's deeper than they expected. Golf balls are cheap compared to medical bills. If your ball's in shallow water and you can safely play it, that's fine. But if there's any question about your safety or if you're going to damage your shoes or clothes, just take the penalty and drop. Let me talk about specific situations that come up a lot. Balls that might or might not be in the water hazards. Maybe your ball is on the bank of a stream or in tall grass near a pond, or you're just not sure if it crossed the hazard line. Here's the etiquette approach. Don't spend forever trying to make these determinations. If it's a close call, make a reasonable decision quickly and move on. Your playing partners will appreciate your efficiency more than your precision and rules interpretation. Now let's talk about a different kind of hazard that doesn't involve sand or water. Areas of the course that are environmentally sensitive or marked as ground under repair. Many modern golf courses have areas marked with white stakes or lines that indicate ground under repair. Environmentally sensitive areas or areas that you're not allowed to play from. These might be wetlands, wildlife habitats, or areas where the course is doing maintenance work. The etiquette here is simple. Stay out of these areas. Don't hit balls from them. Don't walk through them. Don't retrieve balls from them unless it's clearly safe and allowed. If your ball goes into one of these areas, you typically get free relief, meaning you can drop without a penalty. But again, don't spend forever figuring out the exact optimal spot. Take reasonable relief and keep playing. Here's something that applies to all hazard situations. Help your playing partners when they're dealing with difficult lives or penalty situations. Offer to help look for balls, suggest reasonable options for taking relief, and be supportive rather than critical. Golf is hard enough without having your playing partners make you feel worse about bad shots. A simple, "that happens to everyone," or "good thinking, taking relief there," can go a long way towards maintaining a positive atmosphere. One more thing about hazards in difficult situations. This is where course care becomes especially important. When you're frustrated about a bad shot, it's tempting to take it out on the golf course. Don't slam your club into the sand in a bunker, don't throw your clubs towards water hazards, and don't kick at rocks or cart paths. Not only is this poor sportsmanship, but it can also damage equipment and potentially injure yourself or others. Take a deep breath, accept that bad shots are part of golf, and focus on the next shot. Here's the bottom line on bunkers and hazards. They're part of golf. They're going to happen. And how you handle them says a lot about your character and your understanding of golf etiquette. Be efficient, be safe, be considerate of your playing partners, and always leave these areas in better condition than you found them. Do this consistently, and you'll demonstrate that you understand not just the rules of golf, but the spirit of the game as well. Master the etiquette of difficult situations, and you'll be the kind of golfer that people want to play with, even when the golf itself isn't going particularly well.